We're live now. Different setup. Different setup today. Mandeep's not here today. So I will be taking it over today. So yeah. Mandeep will be back tomorrow though. He will be back tomorrow. But for today, I'm taking over, and you guys can ask me questions. You guys can ask me as much questions as you want relating to sports, and I will answer them. Usually I do that when it's just me on the podcast, so that's what's happening today. It's just me today. Monday will be back tomorrow. So like I said, we'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, soon. Very soon I will be doing that. Very soon. I just gotta get, yeah, like you said, I gotta get this podcast more out there. Get more equipment, like you said. So yeah, yeah, definitely. Thanks. Thank you for the feedback. All right. I couldn't do it in my normal spot today, but I think I have done a couple episodes in this room before. But like I said, it's just me today. So we're gonna be talking a lot of football. I think we got a lot of football today, and we got a couple basketball questions today. So we're starting off with football. So Bruce Arians, the Buccaneers head coach, came out and on for that fumble in overtime. I think it's ridiculous. I don't think he should have gotten those. That I didn't really hear much of that. I didn't really hear much of that, but um, that's ridiculous to receive death threats for a fumble. So that's just pure ridiculous. That's nonsense. I don't know why people do that. That's just not right. That's not how you handle things. Because half of these guys that are sending them death threats, or majority of these guys sending them death threats, have never stepped on a football field in their life. So I wouldn't worry about it. Just keep doing them. But like I was saying, Bruce Arians, the head coach of the Buccaneers, public criticized Tom Brady again yesterday. A couple days ago, and in a press conference again. And Tom Brady, he was pouty after the loss on Sunday. So I mean, you can't blame him. You can't blame him for being pouty. But Monday he was pouty. He played on Monday. So and that's Monday said the Rams were gonna win, and they did. So props to him for that. But what's going on with Tom Brady and Bruce Arians? Tom Brady. People are saying this is motivation for Tom Brady. He doesn't need no motivation, man. Come on, let's be real right now. He doesn't really need that much. He doesn't need motivation. The guy's 43 years old. He's been doing this. This is not Bruce Arians and Tom Brady right now. They're like a couple that's just dating. They're not looking for anything long term. They're not going 15, 20 years. They're not. He's not looking for a 15 years, 20-year relationship. He's not looking for a Bill Belichick and Tom Brady part two. He knows this is short term. Bruce Arians, he knows this is short term. He wants to win another championship with Tom Brady there. Tom Brady wants to win another championship. I'm sure all those guys on the Tampa Bay Bucks want to win another one, and that's why they're all there. Now, the play calling is questionable because Tom Brady, why are you throwing the ball? Why are you throwing it so far long down the field? That's not the Tom Brady we know. That's not how Tom Brady became great. He made those short passes. He's not known for those long yard passes. But that's Bruce Arians' coaching style. That's how Bruce Arians coaches. So he's got to get used to that Bruce Arians coaching. And for the people that are saying this is just motivation for Tom Brady, I said it the other day, but at this point it's not motivation. Yeah, public criticism is good for Tom Brady. I get that, but this upcoming game next Sunday, it's gonna be very interesting to see because after Tom Brady, gets public criticized, he shows up in the next game. And I brought that up a couple of weeks ago on the podcast. He shows up after he gets publicly criticized. Sorry about that. Some random number calling me. But I think that, yeah, like I said, Tom Brady getting publicly criticized, it's good for him. But this is just because the man doesn't need motivation anymore. He's 43-year-old. He had this one quote one time: "In order to beat me, you're gonna have to kill me." That has nothing to do with Bill Belichick or Bruce Arians. That's simply just a mentality thing. That's simply just Tom Brady. Tom Brady is probably one of, if not the best quarterback of all time. So that has nothing to do with Bruce Arians, nothing to do with Bill Belichick. Tom Brady is a GOAT. Everybody needs a coach. No, I'm never saying that nobody needs a coach. But Tom Brady is great on his own. And, back to the long play calling, the throwing the ball long down the field. You have the weapons to do that. When you have Mike Evans, when you have Rob Gronkowski, when you have AB, when you have these guys, you can make those kind of plays. But Tom Brady's got to get used to that play calling, because he might just retire with the Tampa Bay Bucks. I don't know if I can't really see him going back to the Patriots just to end his career. So this is your chance. You gotta get used to this. You gotta get used to this play calling, and you gotta win a championship. And I think they will. I still think they'll make it to the Super Bowl. Winning a championship, they have a big game coming up against the Chiefs. I think we might see a good Tom Brady, because we've seen them beat the Packers, these guys, and they have lost to a couple of good teams, and that worries me about my prediction. But I think the Bucs will be fine. I think they'll be fine, and Bruce Arians and Tom Brady, I think they're gonna end up getting along. So, and I'm not saying they're not getting along right now. They're clearly getting along. But Bruce Arians is not afraid, as you guys can see, he's not afraid to come out publicly and speak publicly about, Tom Brady and how he's doing. And when he comes out and speaks publicly about Tom Brady, it's nothing personal. It's strictly on the football field. It's things we are seeing as well. And so the man is not lying. Bruce Arians is not lying when he comes out and publicly criticizes Tom Brady. So it's nothing personal. He doesn't go personal publicly. Bruce Arians is not that type of guy. It's everything we are seeing as well. So we have proof. We know, okay, yeah, Tom Brady is doing that. He's not doing things right. He's not having a great season. But like I said, give the man a break. He's going to show up eventually, and I think he will show up down the stretch this season, down the stretch in the playoffs. I think that's when they're going to get to the Super Bowl. So, and the man is 43 years old. So, like I said it yesterday, give the man a break. Give him a break. And, Bruce Arians, Tom Brady, they're going to get along. They already are getting along. They just need to work things out. And, Bruce Arians, he knows, because Tom Brady does these things in practice. He executes these to perfection in practice. But when you step on a field in a real game, it's a whole different situation. So that's the only thing. So Tom Brady, Bruce Arians, I think they're going to get there. They're going to connect like that. Not like a Bill Belichick and Tom Brady thing, because, Tom Brady spent a lot of time with Bill Belichick. And like I said, I don't see Bruce Arians, no, this is short term. This is no, long-term marriage or whatever, right? So that's what I would compare it to. Bruce Arians and Tom Brady, they're like a couple who's just dating and doesn't want anything more, right? That's what I would compare it to. And I think if Tom Brady and Bruce Arians, they want to win the championship, they're going to have to do it this year. I know this is not on your list of discussion, but what are your thoughts on Matt LaFleur of the Packers? Matt LaFleur and the Packers, they're a good team. Aaron Rodgers, Stephen A. Smith. I love when he calls him that bad man, because that's exactly what he is. He's a bad man. And, Aaron Rodgers, he's one of the greats. He's one of the great quarterbacks. And, I was going to mention him in my last discussion as well. But, yeah, Matt LaFleur is probably one of the best offensive coordinators and one of the best offensive play callers that I've seen in NFL history. So we know what they can do. They're not playing that well, but Devontae Adams, he's a great receiver. There's just their defense is suspect. The defense is really suspect, and I don't think that's gonna win them a Super Bowl championship. I said it the other day on this podcast, and I said I don't think the Packers are Super Bowl contenders anymore, just because of that defense. That defense is gonna get torched up in the playoffs, by like anybody, right? So that their offense is no question, even though they do need a secondary receiver, I feel, and a lot of people feel that way as well. Even though Devontae Adams and a secondary receiver are very good, and along with Aaron Rodgers, who's one of the best quarterbacks ever, that's a pretty good offensive line. But as for the defensive end, you're not going to win championships with that defense. That defense is just strictly terrible. I think you're ranked 27th in points allowed. Yards allowed. You're ranked, I believe it was 17th in then that was 17th in points allowed. So you're not, and you're ranked 16th against the pass. So that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable at all. So, uh, they're a good team, but I think they're a good team that's gonna get knocked out of the playoffs early. Devontae Adams' route running is amazing. He's amazing. He's one of the best receivers today. There's no doubt about that. But as for Super Bowl contenders for the Packers, I don't see it. I don't see it at all. Especially with that defense. That defense just is just suspect. Um, so keeping on the topic with Tom Brady, like I said, they're facing the Chiefs this Sunday. So will Tom Brady keep up with Patrick Mahomes this Sunday? And he just might. To be honest, he just might. I wouldn't be surprised if he does. But right now, Tom Brady's not on the same level as Patrick Mahomes. So I wouldn't be surprised if Patrick Mahomes completely outplays Tom Brady. Obviously, of all time, Tom Brady, you got to put him up there. But right now, Tom Brady is not on the same level as Patrick Mahomes because, excuse me, Patrick Mahomes is just playing out of his mind right now. The way he sees the field is like no other quarterback, and he has the weapons he needs. But so does Tom Brady. He just gotta utilize them better. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Tom Brady show up with that offensive line this Sunday. This is going to be a very good game, I feel. I feel like this is going to be a very good game. So, I think, yeah, Tom Brady, I think he just might get outplayed and I don't know if he can keep up with Patrick Mahomes. Not many can right now. And I don't think anybody can right now, actually. So, that's just how good of a quarterback he is. It I have him at maybe probably number one quarterback right now, and a top MVP candidate right now because he's like I said, he's playing out of his mind. He has the weapons. Travis Kelce showed why he's one of the best tight ends in football, if not the best tight end in football right now. Tyreek Hill, we know he could. His route running is amazing. He's super fast. That guy can run, and those other guys he has. Right, so he has the weapons. Patrick Mahomes has the weapons, and I think he can light up that Bucks defense, and I think he is gonna give Tom Brady even a harder time when he's on offense. So obviously, it's not Tom Brady that has to worry about Patrick Mahomes. It's Tom Brady's defense, the Bucks defense that has to worry about Patrick Mahomes. However, I don't think Tom Brady's going to outplay or keep up with Patrick Mahomes. Sorry. But it will be very interesting to see. I wouldn't be surprised. I know I seem kind of like what side are you on here? But Tom Brady, you can't take away from the GOAT status that he's at right now. Even if he doesn't win this year, doesn't mean he's still not one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. There's no doubt about that. But Patrick Mahomes is just on another level right now, and Tom Brady is he's old. He's 43 years old, and Patrick Mahomes just has the weapons that he needs. So, no, I don't. I'm not 100% positive that Tom Brady can keep up with Patrick Mahomes this Sunday. I just don't really see it right now because it's going to be tough for Tom Brady to keep up with a guy like Patrick Mahomes right now. Just the way he's playing. He's playing out of his mind. He's on an insane momentum. I think they're at a 5-6 game winning streak right now. So they're playing crazy right now. They only have one loss on their record. So it's going to be a very fun game. I think if the Bucks win this weekend, it'll be very interesting. A lot of people are going to be looking at the Bucks like, okay. But to be honest, if the Chiefs win this game, I'm not sure if they're going to lose another game during the season. It'll be very hard to see. But you never know, right? You never know. Upsets happen in football. So we got to see throughout the season. So yeah, I'm very excited for this matchup. The Chiefs versus the Bucks. I'm very excited. But I don't know if Tom Brady can keep up with Patrick Mahomes right now. He's just playing out of his mind. So we have the top five rankings here in front of me for college football. We got Alabama at number one. We got Notre Dame at number two. We got Clemson at number three. We got Ohio State at number four. We got Texas A&M at number five, and we got Florida at number six. So, question is, do you like where Clemson ranks right now? To be honest, I don't mind it because right now I don't know if Clemson and Notre Dame they're neck and neck right now, but I might have to give Notre Dame the slight advantage right now because Notre Dame is playing really good right now. Not to take anything away from Clemson, that game was canceled this past weekend, so I didn't get to see them play. Even though I think they would have just dominated FSU because FSU is just not good right now, but I think that Notre Dame has a slight advantage over um, Clemson right now because yes, they have Trevor Lawrence, who I think could be a very good quarterback in the NFL, but Notre Dame just has more weapons on their team. And I'm not saying Clemson doesn't have weapons. Clemson, of course, has the weapons that they need, but there's a reason Notre Dame is ranked over Clemson right now. And Alabama, they're my favorite college football team. I'm happy where they stand, of course. I love them at number one. But as for Clemson, I like the number three spot because, I would take them over Ohio State, Texas, and Florida, of course. Even though Ohio State, they're in college basketball terms, they're playing very good right now. I was just watching their game, and in college football terms, they're playing very good as well. That's why they're ranked at number four. But Clemson, I'm definitely taking them over. And then, Texas and Florida, they're good, but, I'm taking Clemson over them as well. So the number three spot, I think, is very perfect for Clemson right now because Alabama's just playing out of their mind right now. Even though they took a tough loss the other day, Alabama's playing very good. They're going to be good for a long time. Notre Dame, they're playing very well as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if they slip into that number one spot, because Alabama did take that loss. So I wouldn't be surprised if they slip into that number one spot. But I wouldn't be surprised if Alabama just sticks with it and just goes off throughout the season because I love watching Alabama play. They're amazing. They're amazing the way they run the football, the way they throw the football. Oh my, they're just amazing. And their defense is great as well. I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they win it all this year. I want them to win it all, but you never know because Notre Dame, like I said, they're playing out of their mind as well, and that's why I give them a slight advantage over Clemson. Even though Clemson's really good, they have one of the best coaches in college football history. I think he is the best coach in college football history. However, Notre Dame just has a slight, and I mean a slight, like Notre Dame is right here, just a slight advantage over Clemson just because of the way they're playing, and so yes, I do like Clemson at number three, and I do like this rankings. Florida, I think they might be out of the sixth spot because teams are fighting for that fifth and sixth spot there. So, and you never know, Texas might be moved out of there too. Who knows? They might go higher or they might go lower. So we got to see by the end of the season. Playoffs are coming very soon. They're coming very, very soon. So I'm excited to see that. Yeah. So I definitely like where Clemson ranks right now. Definitely. Uh. So the initial question was, should Ravens and Steelers be postponed? But now we found out that it is postponed and they will be playing on Sunday. So I just got a YouTube notification. Sorry, but so it is postponed now. So what are my thoughts on this being postponed? I think it's a great idea, to be honest, because I've said this multiple times. After these games, we don't know where these college players are doing. We don't know where they're going. We don't know who they're associating with. We don't know if they're going to parties after they win games or even lose games. We don't know, and we don't know the people that they're associating with. We don't know where they have been, right? So that's probably where they're contracting this this COVID from, right? So and it's the same thing with college football. Same thing with college football. College football and NFL, it's the same thing, right? We don't know where these players are going. We don't know what they're doing after games. right? So you gotta be very cautious with this, right? Because it could spread very easily, and players they could get sick. We saw it with Trevor Lawrence; he tested positive. We saw it with Clemson in college football when they were traveling with a player that had COVID, right? That's why the game was canceled against FSU, right? And it's the same thing with NFL, right? Multiple players tested positive for the Ravens, and now it's postponed to Sunday. I hope everybody's better by then. I hope they have a great Thanksgiving still, because it's Thanksgiving in America over there. It's Thanksgiving pass over here. But I hope they have a great Thanksgiving. So, however, they need to be cautious still. They need to be safe. And they need to tell their family members, hey, we can't have too many people over for Thanksgiving because it's going to affect my health, it can affect my teammates' health, and it can affect the way we play. Football is the priority right now. Of course, family is number one priority over anything. However, they still need to be safe. They still need to worry about their health and the people around them that they surround themselves every day that they travel with. So, in the NFL, they chose not to have a bubble. They chose not to have a bubble. They chose not to, test every day. So, that's on them, but that's okay. That's okay because a bubble. We saw what happened with Paul George. Those guys, they were suffering with mental health issues in the bubble, and so was Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott was suffering with mental health issues even when they weren't in a bubble. They were in a lot when we were in lockdown. He was suffering from mental health issues as well. But however, you can't be going to parties and stuff. You can't be like hanging around people that might have it because you don't know where they have been as well. You have a professional career in the NFL, and you gotta stay safe. They say stay safe for a reason, and it's because you can affect those around you. So, what do I think of this? I think it's a great idea to postpone it for now, to make sure those players get healthy by Sunday. Make sure they can play on Sunday because the Ravens, they're missing a lot of key players right now. If they were to play tomorrow, it would be tough for them to win, especially on the defensive end. They're missing guys on the defensive end and some guys on the offensive end. So I think it would be a bad idea for them to play tomorrow anyway, and I like the idea of them postponing it. So yeah, Steelers and Ravens postponed. I like the idea because to it gives them more time to prepare for Sunday now, and it gives them more time to rest up, right? So obviously some of these players that they're not going to practices because of the COVID, they gotta rest up. But even though if you're rest up and you're ready to go, you're ready to go. So you're going there, you go into the game, you already know what the play calling is. It's not like you're new to the team. It's not like it was an Antonio Brown situation. Even though I think he's going to develop, he's going to get better, he's going to get used to that play calling. But you're not in that situation. Mark Ingram he's a very key player for the Ravens, and he's out. So who knows? He could get better by Sunday, or before Sunday. He could get ready for Sunday and play on Sunday. So yeah, that's it's very important that they cancel this game, and I thought it would be. And my answer to the initial question for should Ravens Steelers be postponed, and I was gonna say I think it should, but I found out on Sports Center at 12 o'clock that it was postponed. So I forgot to take that question out, but yeah, glad I brought it up. So the initial question was Thursday a must win, but now it's Sunday. So Sunday a must win for Lamar Jackson. I wouldn't say it's a must win, but they can't lose. I know it sounds confusing, but it's not a must win because obviously you're not having a great season, and you're not playing your best football. This is not the MVP Lamar Jackson that we saw. This is not the Baltimore Ravens. This is not the first seeded Baltimore Ravens that we saw last year. This is not the MVP Lamar Jackson that we've been seeing, right? So this is not the top tier Ravens team that we know and that we saw last season. Even though they got bounced out in one game, we haven't seen Lamar Jackson win a playoff game yet. And I think it'll be the same thing this year. I don't think he's going to win a playoff game this year if they make the playoffs. So that's why I think it they can't really lose, but I wouldn't say it's a must win because even if they lose, then they still have recovery games. They still have easy teams they can beat, right? Losing to the Steelers, it's not that bad because they're 10-0. They're 10-0. They were on my they took the number one spot on my top five list. So yeah, I I wouldn't want to lose. Obviously, you never want to lose, but however, you want to win as well. Like you want to win. You want to win every game you play, but if they lose, it's not that big of a deal. I don't think it's that big of a deal if they lose because they gotta they have other teams that they can play. They still have a couple of weeks left, right? So they have a couple of weeks left for teams that they can play, and yeah, they could still make it to the playoff. But right now, I don't see them even winning a playoff game still. The way they're playing right now, Lamar Jackson is playing terrible right now. So, and this is not the MVP Lamar Jackson that we saw, and he really needs to. I'm on him every week because of this. He needs to work on passing that football. If he can't pass that football, it's going to be very hard because defenses are going to pressure you like a lot, and then that's when receivers are going to be open. But your job is to get that ball to the receivers, and if you can't improve in that passing game, you're going to have a very very hard time. Okay, so that's all I'm saying. You're gonna have a very hard time with getting that football to open receivers when the defense is pressuring you, because you need to work on that passing game. If you're going to be a great quarterback, you need to work on that passing. You need to work on that accuracy, right? So that's very important as a quarterback. Um, so we're gonna be talking about, and I wish Malik was here to listen to me talk about this. But will the Cowboys impress or disappoint on Thursday? Um, was it Thursday? What? No, they're playing on whatever. Will they disappoint against Washington? Yes, they will. I hope they do because the Cowboys stink. The Cowboys are just terrible. I dislike the Cowboys. I dislike the fans. I made that clear the other day. I don't have a problem with the Cowboys. I have a problem with their fans. Their fans are disgusting, and I can't stand them. They're worse than any other fans in sports history. I hate that. I hate their fans, and I hope they lose every week. They got lucky winning on Sunday against the Vikings, but that was a lucky win. It was a lucky win, and they win one game and they think, oh, we're gonna win the Super Bowl. That is not the case, and that's what I hate about Cowboy fans. But in all seriousness, they shouldn't lose this game. They shouldn't lose against Washington. The Washington football team. They're so bad they don't even have a name. That's how bad they are. They don't have they're called the Washington football team. They didn't even put Washington D.C. We don't know which Washington. We don't know if it's the Northwest Washington or if it's the Washington in Washington D.C. So that they're so bad they don't even have a name. So the Cowboys, they have Anthony Dalton back, even though they don't have Dak Prescott. Anthony Dalton is pretty decent. They shouldn't lose this game. If the Cowboys lose this game, I'm gonna be laughing. I'm gonna be laughing a lot. Don't get me wrong. I'll be on Instagram and on Facebook, maybe even TikTok, just laughing at the Cowboys because I hate them so much. And I'm not supposed to be biased on here, but I am biased about Cowboy fans. So, however, they shouldn't lose this game against Washington. This game against Washington, and the winner of this, I believe, takes the lead. Yeah, takes the lead for the NFC East. So anybody could win this. Anybody could win this division, to be honest, because this division is the worst division in NFL history. I say it every day. I'll continue to say it because this division is just so bad. It's so bad. I can't imagine being a Cowboys, Giants, Eagles, or Washington fan because it's just that terrible right now. Like, you could win this division with 5 or 6 wins, and that is insane. That is the most insane thing I've heard. Somehow, and the Eagles are leading 3-6-1, and they're leading the NFC East, which is insane. That's how bad this division is, and it annoys me how bad this division is. They're just so bad it annoys me. So the Cowboys, they shouldn't lose this game on Sunday. They shouldn't. And if they lose this game, I'm already disappointed in them as a franchise, but I will be even more disappointed if they lose to the Washington football team. Keep that in mind. The Washington football team, not even Washington D.C., not the Washington Warriors or something like that. The Washington football team is what they are called. So keep that in mind. The Washington football team, if they beat the Cowboys, that will be very sad. It will be very sad, but I will be laughing. I will be laughing if the Washington football team beats the Cowboys, and I will be very happy because I always want them to lose. I always want the Cowboys to lose. But anyway, we're moving on to some basketball here. So, what was the most important move this offseason? So this is a tough question because there were some important moves. I like by Bogdanovich going to the Hawks. They might be the best backcourt this season. Who knows? Because that's a very good backcourt. Obviously, you have Chris Paul and Devin Booker there. But to be honest, I think the biggest move this offseason was Montrezl Harrell to the Lakers. Because here's why. Montrezl Harrell added to the Lakers. That spaces out the floor for Anthony Davis to hit jump shots and hit and stretch the floor more. Montrezl Harrell is top 10 at protecting the rim, top 10 at blocking shots, right? And you can make an argument. Serge Ibaka went to the Clippers. I don't want to hear that Serge Ibaka can shoot more threes, and all that is true. But Serge Ibaka is a versatile defender. He can protect the rim as well. But I'm taking Montrezl Harrell because he's a bit younger, right? And Montrezl Harrell is a dog, and that's what you need on teams. You need a dog on your team. So Montrezl Harrell can dominate the paint. I've seen a couple clips of him handling the ball. He can handle that basketball. I've seen him play pickup. He's very good. Obviously he can't shoot, and that's something he needs to work on, and that's something Serge Ibaka has. Serge Ibaka can shoot. However, this was an amazing pickup for the Lakers because you're stretching the floor for shooters now because they have Wesley Matthews. Doesn't matter how Mandeep feels about Wesley Matthews, he can still hit a shot when he's open. They have KCP. We saw him show up in the finals, right? Anthony Davis, who's one of the best mid-range hitters in the league right now, and LeBron, he can hit shots when he wants to. He's obviously not the best 3-point shooter at the small forward position, but he can hit it in clutch positions. And Montrezl Harrell stretches that floor out for you now. So Montrezl Harrell, no one's driving in that paint. Nobody is driving in that paint with Montrezl Harrell and Anthony Davis standing in your way. And the only way you are going to beat the Lakers is by 3-point shooting. I'm getting into that later, but nobody's driving into that paint. So Montrezl Harrell is the biggest pickup in LA and the biggest pickup in the league in this offseason right now. I don't see a bigger pickup happening later in this offseason. Obviously James Harden and Russell Westbrook are still in Houston. Excuse me. They're still in Houston and they still want to be traded. So we got to see where they go. Apparently they're going to go the Rockets want to trade James Harden to a team the media is not talking about. So I'm not sure how true that is, but for right now, Montrezl Harrell is the biggest move this offseason just because of how he can stretch the floor for Anthony Davis. Those guys, it's an amazing pickup. You just took the Clippers' 6th man of the year. He went over to the other side. He went to the other coast. He went to the Lakers. He said, I can't play with you Clippers anymore. I'm going over to with Bron and AD, 2 top 5 players. That's what he said. I'm a Lakers fan. I'm happy he went to the Lakers. But to be real, Montrezl Harrell was the best pickup this offseason so far, especially for the Lakers. This is big for the Lakers. The Lakers, I don't see anybody competing with them right now. No matter how much he feels, I think this Lakers team is better than the Lakers team that just won a championship. This Lakers team right now could probably go back to the finals, and I think they will. Because the Warriors are out. I thought the Warriors could beat them, but Klay Thompson went down unfortunately. Hopefully he gets better, speedy recovery. But because that's the only way you're beating the Lakers is by 3-point shooting, and nobody else has the best shooting backcourt of NBA history or the best shooting backcourt since mankind, right? So Nobody else has that. Only the Warriors have that. And now Klay Thompson's out. And now I think the Warriors are a first round exit. So I think the Lakers are probably going back to the finals. I don't see anybody else beating them. Right? So um, LeBron and AD are the best duo in NBA history. Not NBA, sorry. NBA today. I almost got, I probably was almost going to get trolled for that. But I think Bron and AD are the best duo today. They like no other duo is better than them right now. They're number one right now. So Montrezl Harrell to the Lakers was the best pickup this offseason so far. And it doesn't matter how Muddeep feels, Montrezl Harrell can hoop. Montrezl Harrell can ball, and he can handle it. He can handle that basketball pretty well. I've seen him handle it before. And, Money's not here today to disagree with me and yell at me and, yell at back and forth at each other. But, Montrezl Harrell to the Lakers, probably the best pickup. No, the best pickup this offseason, without a doubt. So sticking on the topic of duos, which duo comes closest to AD and LeBron? Because like I said, AD and LeBron are the best duo right now. But which duo comes closest? It's Kyrie and Kevin Durant. Because you have probably one of, if not the best ball handler in NBA history, one of the best finishers, if not the best finisher around the basket in Kyrie Irving. Then you have a guy who I believe is better than better than LeBron James when healthy in Kevin Durant. And one of the best scorers, one of the best scoring small forwards in NBA history. And I think he will go down as one of the best, if not the best scoring small forward in history. He's a 7-footer with a 7-foot wingspan. He can handle the ball. He can shoot. He can defend. And, he's coming back from that Achilles injury. And, a lot of people are saying, oh, no one is ever the same after they come back from an Achilles injury. But most of those players that had those Achilles injury were very athletic. And Kevin Durant is athletic, but Kevin Durant does not need to rely on that athleticism like those other athletes did. Because Kevin Durant, like I said, he's a 7-footer with a 7-foot wingspan. He can shoot. He can shoot lights out. He can shoot from the parking lot. He can handle the ball like no other small forward. I think Kevin Durant, when healthy, even at 80%, is the best small forward in the game. I think they're both going to average about 25 a game this season. And I think the closest duo to LeBron and AD is going to be KD and Kyrie. I think the Nets are going to be the first seed in the East next season, and it's very, very possible. I think it's going to be the Lakers versus the Brooklyn Nets in the NBA Finals this season. That is just how good KD and Kyrie are. Because, Money says, Kyrie's a problem in the locker room. But when you're talking about skill-wise, KD and Kyrie are the closest to Bron and AD right now, and I can see them giving a hard time, especially if they acquire James Harden. That will be a huge pickup if they acquire James Harden. I'm not sure if they will yet, but right now the best duo to go up against, Bron and AD is Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Let's see if we got questions here. All right. So back to college football. Nick Saban tested positive for COVID-19, and he won't coach this Saturday. So this is tough, but not as tough as people think, because here's the thing. There's no doubt about it that Nick Saban is the best coach in college football history. However, they have a backup coach that he coached at other places. He's very experienced at coaching, and I don't think this will affect Alabama at all. I don't think they're gonna have a hard time without their coach, because they're a very good team and they still have a pretty good coach coaching them this Saturday, right? So they're not gonna have a hard time. I don't think this is that big of a deal. Obviously, I hope Nick Saban has a speedy recovery and gets better as soon as he can, and gets back to coaching. But right now, I think this is not that big of a deal, and I think that Alabama still probably will win this Saturday, because that's just how good they are. And I'm an Alabama fan. I will be watching this game, and I love watching them play. So I don't think this is that big of a deal. So yeah, I don't think that's big of a deal. And yeah. Is it a big deal if the Steelers lose to the Ravens? Um, I don't think it's a big deal because they're 10-0. They're undefeated. So if they lose to the Ravens, even though they've beat them once, I don't think it's a big deal. And because they've beaten them once, I don't think it's a big deal. If they lost two in a row to them, then yeah, that's pretty a big deal. Because like, okay, you can't beat the Ravens, but they already beat them once. They already beat them once, so I don't think it's a big deal if they lose. I don't know if they will lose, but that's a topic for Sunday. But because I was gonna talk about it tomorrow, the predictions tomorrow, but it was moved to Sunday. But I don't think it would be a big deal if the Steelers lose on Sunday to the Ravens, because Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, like I said, they're not having a great season. They're not having that good of a season. So this is not the Ravens that we saw last season. This is not the MVP Lamar Jackson that we've seen last year. He's not playing good. He's completing about 50% of his passes, which is decent, but it's not the Lamar Jackson we know. He needs to increase that passing game. Like I've said it multiple times, and I'll continue to say it, because he's not that great in the passing game. So that's all. That's all I'm saying. He's not that good he's not good in passing game. So the Ravens, they're not playing that good this season, and the Steelers, they're playing amazing. They're 10-0. So I think if they take one loss, they could go undefeated. The Steelers could go undefeated, but if they lose to the Ravens, it's not that big of a deal. Not that big of a deal. I'm a Steelers fan, and I've been harsh on them a couple of times a couple of weeks on the list, but I put them at number one because they're playing amazing. They absolutely decimated the Jaguars this past Sunday. And I know the Jaguars are a completely different team than the Ravens, but the Ravens are still playing bad, and I think the Steelers will give them a tough time again. So, and I believe they're playing in Pittsburgh this time. Last time they were playing in Baltimore. So now Pittsburgh has home field advantage now. So we got to see what's going to happen on Sunday. So it'll be very exciting to see. Does Calvin Johnson deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, but not a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's one of the best players in NFL history. He was a very good player. One of the best in the game, of course. That's why he's in the Hall of Fame. But he doesn't deserve to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, just because there were a lot of players that were better than him. And I'm gonna stick on this topic for a short time before I offend anybody. But he doesn't deserve to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, but not first ballot, just because like I said, there's so many other people better than him in that class. So yeah, not first ballot Hall of Famer. Definitely not. Definitely not first ballot Hall of Famer. But he is a Hall of Famer. Without a doubt, Hall of Famer. But first ballot, I don't think so. That's my opinion. I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. But some other people feel different. So I need to take a sip of water before I answer this question. Who wins the NFC East? I don't know. Who's gonna win this pillow fight? I don't know. Do you guys know? Because at this point, I don't know. But because this is the worst division in NFL history. We all know that. But to be serious, I think the Cowboys have the best chance. As much as it hurts me to say it, I think the Cowboys have the best chance because the Eagles are stinking up the league. You have Washington, who doesn't even have a name. I bring that up all the time. And you have the New York Giants, who's, they're doing pretty decent, and they're showing, they have heart, even without Saquon Barkley. But even with Saquon Barkley, they're not that good. So the Cowboys have the best chance to win the NFC East. As much as I hate to say it, it's the worst division in football history, but the Cowboys have the best chance to win it, even though the Eagles are leading the The NFC East with 3-6 with a record of 3-6-1. It's that which is crazy to me. I think you could win this division with 5 or 6 wins. That's how bad this division is. But the Cowboys have the best chance. They have Andy Dalton, who's playing good. He's playing pretty decent. He's being a good good backup quarterback for Dak Prescott. Ezekiel Elliott is still there, and you have other guys too that are pretty good. That amazing touchdown catch from I forgot his name now, but he had an amazing touchdown catch, and they looked pretty good against the Vikings. I can't lie, they looked pretty good against the Vikings. They played good football, but yeah, the Cowboys have the best chance. I think they might take the NFC East lead against the Washington football team this Sunday because the Washington football team, they're so bad they don't even have a name. So I think Cowboys probably win this weekend, and I would laugh. I will really laugh if the Cowboys lose this weekend. But I think the Cowboys have the best chance to win the NFC East. Would you put Jalen Hurts in the place of Carson Wentz? No. Carson Wentz, he's having a bad season, yes, but he's gonna get better. He's not having a good season, and if he doesn't have the weapons he needs. He doesn't have the weapons that Patrick Mahomes has, or even Aaron Rodgers has, or Tom Brady has. He doesn't have those weapons, and that's what's affecting him. Deshaun Jackson, he can't stay healthy. These guys, they can't stay healthy, and that's what's happening to the Eagles right now. They can't stay healthy, and they're just doing terrible. Carson Wentz, he's playing terrible as well, but I believe in him. I said the other day that I'm done with Carson Wentz. He threw a pick six. He played terrible, but that doesn't take away from the offensive line that he has. That doesn't mean I take away that he doesn't have those weapons that he needs. He needs those weapons. He needs a better offensive line. The play calling needs to be better, and they need to upgrade that offensive line. The defense is okay, but for Carson Wentz, we're talking about him. Even if Jalen Hurts replaces him, it won't make a difference. That offensive line is terrible, and I'll keep saying it. Jalen Hurts, it's not like if you put Jalen Hurts in, oh my goodness, more weapons. He's going to have the same weapons that Carson Wentz has, and I'm taking Carson Wentz over Jalen Hurts any day, and I think everybody agrees with me with that. So it wouldn't make a difference putting Jalen Hurts in. Even though Carson Wentz is playing bad, he doesn't have the guys that he needs, and that's just simple. It's just simple as that. Doesn't have the weapons he needs. That offensive line is terrible. And I think that's why Carson Wentz is just playing terrible right now. They need more weapons. They need to do something big this offseason. They need to do something. Or else the Eagles are going to be in trouble next season again. And then I don't know what's going on in Philly with, their medical staff. But these guys just can't seem to stay healthy to save their life. It's killing them. It's really killing them. You guys can see it. It's killing them with the injuries. So many injuries starting from the playoffs and last season. So it's terrible. But yeah. Got a couple more questions. It's gonna be a shorter podcast today because we don't have Monday period today. But how did you like the benching of Tua? In the moment, I didn't like it, and even after the game, I didn't like it because he wasn't having a bad game. He wasn't having that bad of a game, to be honest. When the pressure was on him, then he made a couple of mistakes, but when he had receivers open, he made those passes. And he's a rookie. You're gonna expect him to probably choke under pressure a couple of times. He needs to learn from those mistakes, right? And I think keeping him in the game gives him a better learning experience. I don't think taking him out was the right move. I still don't like it right now. So no, I don't think they should have taken Tua out because even though he wasn't playing good, he needs to learn. He needs to learn from experiences. He needs to learn from defenses putting pressure on him. He needs to learn how to execute. He needs to learn how to improvise, right? And if you take him out and baby him, then it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work out. Right, so no, I don't like the benching of Tua. I don't think he should have been taken out. No disrespect to Ryan Fitzpatrick, but Tua, I think being babied is just gonna be worse for him. I don't think they should be babying him anymore. So, I don't like the benching of Tua. Yeah, so we talked about Ravens Steelers postponed. I got through all these topics pretty quickly. We usually take a longer time because Monday's here and we usually go back and forth. But this podcast was a bit shorter today because I was by myself. But yeah, we got through these questions in 50 minutes actually. That's crazy. It didn't even take an hour because I usually have Monday here. But it's all right. Money will be back tomorrow. That's what he said anyway. But Money is usually here, so go show him some love. He was just he couldn't make it today, but I hope you guys enjoyed it today. Shorter podcast, like I said. I wonder if they'll let me upload this to YouTube because usually when it's shorter podcast, that you let me upload it to YouTube. So I don't know. Hopefully in the future, I'd like I think it was Ashton who came on here and said it. Streaming on Spotify and other platforms. I'm definitely thinking of doing that in the future. I'm just trying to get this podcast more out there. Get more experience with Monday and me. We're still getting started with this, even though we're not I believe third week of this podcast. So yeah, we're still getting used to it. So I appreciate you guys' support. I appreciate all the support. I do polls like after every week. How would you guys think of that week of the podcast? And most of it is positive, and I appreciate that support from you guys. So thank you guys for those guys who tuned in today. I know it's shorter. Tomorrow will be the original time. So yeah, we talked about some stuff. We talked about a lot of football and some basketball. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, 4 p.m. Eastern, same of the day after, not on the weekends. Right, so see you guys on the next one. Take it easy.